Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh, may He protect us both. May we both enjoy together. May we both exert together. May our studies become brilliant. May we not become disputatious and hate each other. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Hari Om, everybody. For the classes, today is a very, very beautiful verse. Paramatma. We'll be doing it very soon. In this grand scheme of totality, where you see the whole universe is functioning in a particular way, the law of gravitation exactly stays at 32 feet per second per second. When a higher object falls towards the lower planes, it falls at the speed of 32 feet per second per second. It's the law of gravity. All these laws are so-called functioning immaculately. Somehow when you look around everywhere, you feel that your role is pretty much zero, or an individual's role for that matter, pretty much zero. When a seed becomes a sapling becomes a tree has leaves, it has flowers, pollination happens with interconnectivity with other beasts, birds, and including humans. Fruits come up. Then the fleshy part of the fruit, which is tasty thing like a mango, to be eaten by animals and humans, and the seed discarded back again to again reproduce. You see all these happening so beautifully together in harmony that we feel our role is, I don't know what it is. That is the reason majority of people say that just be in the flow. If you heard this concept, we should be in the flow. So what is this flow? Quite a lot of people, in the name of being in the flow, they have this concept of not doing anything and just letting things be as they are. They live by chance. This happened, so I should do this. That happened, so I do. And there is no intellectual clarity. So whatever is happening, let it go on. Anyway, it is Maya. It's an illusion. So that kind of a thought where the person does not put any particular effort. We have to function in the world as an insignificant person who has significance. Each one of us is a player in a huge orchestra, this galaxy of orchestra, and we have to play our part. Whether that part is noticeable or not is immaterial. Just play your part. So this verse talks about that attitude of playing each one's part to perfection. Because in this galaxy of the orchestra going on, everybody is playing. So somebody's got a big play, somebody's got a small play, somebody has an insignificant, whatever it is, whatever is your role. You play it well. That's all. Our job is not to identify. So how would you identify the role first of all? Okay, sir, I know that I need to play my role. But what is my role? For this question of what is my role, one important thing what we have to do is stop the din that is coming from outside. Stop the noise that is coming from outside. Filter away everything. What the other person's role is, what they are doing, what they are reaping out of that role, all that should be out of your way. Each one's head for that matter. And then scrutinize, analyze yourself, and find what role you have in life. Swadharma. We have done this in chapter 3. We have done Swadharma, Nidhanam Shre. So you do your Swadharma. Whatever is your talent, you do justice to that. I don't do justice to my talent because I think I can gain something out of other person's talent. So I copy everything. That should not happen. So how do you go about it? This is the beautiful verse. We'll chant this verse and then we'll go for the explanation. Buddharedātmanātmānam nātmānamavasādhaye ātmaivayātmano bandhuhu ātmaivaripurātmanah. Let man lift himself by himself. Let him not lower himself. His self alone is his friend. His self alone is his enemy. Let man lift himself by himself. There have been a lot of so-called teachers, or they call themselves guru nowadays, where they take it on themselves saying that I will take care of your karma and I will take care of your spiritual evolution. That arrogance or ego of the person who's teaching to drag in the students for more and more indulgences in their own lives. So when they say that I will take care of your karma, you don't have to do anything. You understand that they are doing it from the point of view of don't move around here and there. You focus on one. Any one teacher for that matter. Anyone who teaches you what is the right thing to do in life. It can be anybody. And once from this buffet of services of gurus, you pick up one, then be honest to that person. Man, woman, or child, it does not matter. It just does not matter. So they are calling for that. Don't keep on looking here and there. And they will never promise. In fact, a true teacher will never promise, I am going to give you moksha. Nobody does that. In fact, Krishna here is telling Arjuna, who is his closest friend, a closest relative, cousin, everything right from childhood, they have been close together. And that Avatara Krishna himself is saying to Arjuna, Uddhared Atma Atmanam, let man lift himself by himself, let him not lower himself. Indicating there are 2 pointers. One, don't look out for help outside. You cannot look out for help outside. This is the problem with majority of people is when I get agitated, since I am acclimatized and trained right from childhood to blame anybody and everybody around me for my pleasure as well as my pain. So this thought continues. And here, first line itself, Krishna admits, let man lift himself by himself. You have to get up, dust yourself and move on. If you wait for people, if you see the children, they do it beautifully. Small children, when they fall down, if anybody's witnessed that, and they're talking about very small children, when they fall down, you know what's the first thing they do? They don't cry. If you look carefully, they look everywhere around. And if they find a known figure, a father or a mother or a brother or a sister, then the child starts bawling. The child starts crying loudly, shouting literally. But when the child sees nobody is around, I've seen this many times. When the child sees nobody is around, it just gets up, does, and moves on. Similarly, let man lift himself by himself. Let him not lower himself, indicating that there is nothing other than you that can lift your individuality, personality, and nothing other than your own efforts that puts you down. So, number one, don't blame anybody for anything. There is no other force but your own internal strength and weakness that leads to either a strength of a personality or an agitated personality. Situations and circumstances have no say whatsoever. Once you understand that, it becomes easier. So first what happens? A human being, right, is born, they always put a point finger outward and say, it is because of you that I am agitated. It is because of you that I am agitated. So scriptures come here and say, listen, you can't put a blame on worldly objects and beings and relationships for your constant agitation. You just can't do that. Okay, you can blame yourself, but you can't blame anybody. When the scriptures come and see that, then the people understand and say, yes, okay, I'm not supposed to blame the world. So I am supposed to blame who? Again, it doesn't come to the individuality. They don't say that, okay, I should blame myself and now I'll find the solution. No. Then they'll start blaming God. They'll start blaming temples and churches and mosques. They'll start blaming the stars and the planets. And they'll try to find out what is wrong in my stars for which I'm going through this. And there is a whole earning department of different sannyasis, not sannyasis actually, they are just working for seeing about astrology and all these things. Is if that is happening, then this is happening to you. So you have to wear this kind of ring, you have to wear this kind of amulet, then everything will become ordered because you need somewhere to blame. You can't, we are not evolved enough to blame ourselves. We are not so extroverted now so that to blame everybody around us. So what do? We blame our stars and planets. Here also the Vedanta comes and says, listen, nobody to blame but you. It is my own actions that reap the rewards or the problems thereof, agitations thereof. There is nothing else. The same action comes boomerang. Like a boomerang, it goes towards the world and comes back to me. Same. I am not punished for my actions. Swami used to say this beautifully. I am not punished for my actions. I am punished by my actions. There is no third party that is doling out punishments and goodness. There is no. I tried looking at it. It's not there. The only thing that is responsible for all my problems is my own karma. So get up, dust yourself. Don't so raise yourself, lift yourself by yourself, himself by himself. Let him not lower himself. His self alone, indeed. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu. His self alone indeed looks like his friend. His self alone is his enemy. So we try to do this thing. Since I don't understand that I am that great Paramatma, the supreme reality, I have misunderstood myself to be the individuality. This, everybody understand the basics of it. So religion is to bind or to understand that this individuality is nothing but a totality which is assumed an individuality. So there are two planes. One is the lower, which is the individual. The other is the higher, which is the totality, right? And that constant trying to merge or having the union from this lower towards that higher is called yoga or religion, constantly. So when the lower is ready, lower means our own mind and intellect, individuality based on mind and intellect. When my mind and intellect is ready for help, I want to improve. Forget religion, forget dharma granthas, forget which caste I am, forget what is my sex, forget about everything demarcating line in whatever the world gives me. 1 year back, 6 months back, 3 months back, I used to get more and more agitated. I used to get more stressed. I used to get more angry. My temper was there. So this was there probably 3 months back. Therefore, it is causing me a lot of problem in my mental energies being dissipated, as well as physically I am not up to the mark. Therefore, I want to become better than what I was. And to become better than what I was is this fight. So the lower is admitting, if anybody has been to Alcoholic Anonymous, I think so, AA group they are called. So that is for people who drink. If relatives are there, you know at least the knowledge of it. When you are in that circle with them, the first thing you do is you go there and you have to admit that I am so and so. So my name is so and so. I am an alcoholic. You start with that. And when you say I am an alcoholic, everybody will start clapping. Not clapping because you are an alcoholic or a drug abuser. Clapping because you have the strength to admit that you have a weakness. So the very fact I understand that I am at a lower level, a lower rung of this ladder in my life, and I want to raise myself higher, then my journey starts. There's a beautiful shloka in the Bhagavad Gita, I think so it's in chapter 13. Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Parameshwariti Paramatma iti. So starts with the Upadrashta. Upadrashta means the higher, when the lower is indulging in sense contacts. When the lower is indulging in sense contacts and having fun in sensual contacts, materiality and sensuality, and it has nothing to do with anything higher in life, living a very, very selfish life and dying the same way. Then what the self does? Nothing. Self has no role to play. So it is just staying there. Upadrashta, it is an observer. As the lower starts saying that I should not do this because it may cause hurt to others, there is an inner voice of conscience saying what I should do and not do. When I do something wrong, this voice of conscience is that prick which says I should not have done it. So whatever you're doing in life, now you are doing according to the guidance, a chart, a channel prepared by your own higher being within you. It looks as if that higher being is permitting you to do it. Anumanta, it's a permitting factor. So you are asking everyone, this is what I want to do, and you do it. Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta. Then slowly, as your faith increases on the higher, it becomes the supporter. Now, when the pull is coming from the lower realms of life, of materiality and sensuality, of a selfish life, you are anchored in the higher. So the sense of values is so much integrated into you that even if 100 people come and say this is to be done and this is not to be done, you will still go according to what is right and what is wrong. Because the higher values are there. Now the higher value, the higher being in you supports you. Bharta, it becomes a bharta. Bhokta, then whatever you do, following the higher life, follow the selfless pattern of life, you become the enjoyer. Because all the grievances, all the agitation and stress is caused by just one factor, and that is my own ego. When I get hurt, it is my own ego that gets hurt, nothing else gets hurt. So when I say Bhokta, I am the enjoyer. Who is the enjoyer? The Supreme Self is the enjoyer. The higher being is the enjoyer. I don't enjoy because I am no more the doer. This needs to be done. It needs to be done, and your job is done. You don't carry the cross of what all I did in my life and what I'm going to reap. There is no thought of that. Hanumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, you become the real enjoyer. And then Maheshwara, Lord of all beings. When you become the Lord of all beings indicates as you are moving towards the higher, things will start happening around you. You will still notice things will start happening. It's always said there is a divinity that shape our ends. Some things happen suddenly in your life which you have not accounted for. Good things. You are just trying to do good in the society. Somewhere down the line, somebody recognizes it and takes you places. Takes you. Things happen. Help comes. This is the way nature functions. I gave the example of the seed becoming a sapling, the sapling becoming the tree, and the tree becoming the flower. The whole growth is in itself. And suddenly for pollination and cross-pollination, insects and bees and animals and human beings come. It is ordered by some divine principle. You become a Maheshwara. Maheshwara in the sense of whatever is required for your growth, for your disbursement of your activities is provided. Help comes. We have no idea from where it comes. Therefore, they say you become a Maheshwara. And once you become a Maheshwara, the last stage of mergence is Paramatma. You reach the state of Paramatma. Paramatma means the Supreme Self. The lower has merged with the higher. Sorry, did I say that? Actually, the lower has not merged with the higher. The lower has understood that there is no lower. The lower has understood that there is no lower. There is only one. Only when there is a lower is there a higher. There is no higher, there is no lower. Na muktir aham nirvikalpo nirakara rupo. The last 4 lines. Aham nirvikalpo, I am without change. Nirakara, I don't have any form. No rupa. Aham nirvikalpo nirakara rupa. Vibhurvyapya sarvatra sarvendriyani. I am the one who has eyes everywhere. I am everywhere. I am the omnipresent reality. Sada me samatvam. I am always absolutely silent. Internally, samatvam. Sada me samatvam. Na muktir, na bandha. I am neither free, neither I am bound. There is no bondage for me. And since there is no bondage for me, I am not even free. Then who am I? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So, Upadreshta, Hanumantaja, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, Paramatma. You reach that state if and only if I understand the self to be my friend. But if I understand the self to be enemy, I don't go anywhere. And what is the enemy? Self is not the enemy. Self has nothing to do with my evolution. The only thing when we are talking about self and the enemy is the lower is so much involved in the lower aspects of life. The lower aspect of my being is so much integrated into the selfish attitudes of life, being in a material plane and a sensual plane, that it thinks that is what life is. So there is no inner craving to become something than what it is. It is just enjoying there only. So when the lower being does not seek help, when the lower being does not seek help, there is no help from the higher. It's impossible. So that's what he's talking here. Let man lift himself by himself. Let him not lower himself. His self alone is his friend. His self alone is his enemy. There is nothing else that matters. So don't go on blaming everybody, the world, and the teachers. The teachers, what they do, their job, the guru, is to just introduce a concept, introduce a teaching to you, and say that this is what you are, so says the great text. But since you are at present completely caught up, or we are completely caught up with the world of materiality and sensuality, we feel that this is what it is. And when we feel that this is the totality, what I'm enjoying here, and there is nothing beyond this, I suffer a lot of agitation, stress, and strain. And people get into depression, people get into nervous breakdown because they don't see anything higher in life. An agitated person is a selfish person. Or let me put it the other way around. It is only a selfish person who gets agitated. An unselfish person or a selfless person doesn't get agitated because they have a goal to reach. There is a higher goal. All the Mahatmas. Why Mahatmas? Majority of the successful people in the world, the topmost businessmen, their thought always has been, why can't I support a few more families, few more people? Let us all come together. And this thought is always there. So their main aim is to reach that higher goal in life. It is not to stay at the lower. The more you stay at the lower, you will end up, or everybody will end up getting agitated, stressed, and depressed. And it's a huge disease. So one lady asked me this question actually, that in one of the children's classes is what to do when one is depressed. No, she used the word clinically depressed. If there is a clinical depression, what should we do? Find out. If you have clinical depression, go to a clinic, but try to talk to people. I wish people would talk to us more about what are the problems are, which genuine problems, not father-in-law, brother-in-law problems. I'm talking about genuine problems which hurts them, because we hear about people committing suicide at a very, very young age for depression. And the only time they are committing suicide is because they think that there's nobody to help them. So when you try to reach out to more people, when you feel that enough of sitting and crying for my own selfish reasons, what am I born for? Can I contribute in some way? It can be anything. It can be playing junjuna, ching, 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 ching. They play in the orchestra. Nothing significant, but in one corner out of 100, I'm standing there. Even that much is enough. So once I understand that and start doing things, then I will stop thinking about my own problems. Better, I will start finding solution to my own problems. The focus is this. So when you are depressed, when you are nervous breakdown, you're complete, then you are sitting and crying because this is what is where my life is. You feel the emptiness, you feel a lot. But slowly, that is the reason in the Shastras, it is said it's a rehabilitation of intellect. So you rehabilitate your intellect. The intellect is trained by the society now not to question, not to think. I used to go to a school where I used to teach, and I used to ask the children, why don't you ask some questions? Please ask some questions. Whatever you ask, whatever you want to ask. Nobody would open their mouth. And some children came and told me, sir, if we ask anything, we are hit by the teachers. Actually, I'm not going to name the school or whatever, but we are hit by the teachers. They have methods of hitting the teachers, hitting the students. So a student is not trained to ask questions. You can't ask a question to your husband because that irritates him. You can't ask a question to your wife because she gets nagging. You can't ask question to children because they don't know. Then you reach a guru, you can't ask question to a guru because whatever guru says is true. Otherwise, if you are questioning or inquiring that particular person from that strata, it looks blasphemous. So they just smile. They just smile and say that, you don't understand what I'm talking. It's that attitude of that teacher. So when are you going to question? When are you going to inquire? The highest inquiry of whether all this is a play or is there some reality behind this, that itself is not there. We are not even asking small questions. So you have to get up and dust yourself. It's one of my favorite verses of Dhare Atma Atmanam, indicating that if you are sitting and waiting for help, help will not come. It will not come. Don't sit and wait. This will happen, then I will do this. It's impossible. There was a person who was a great bhakta, always saying Krishna, 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 Krishna. He had a lot of physical problems, he had a lot of emotional problems, he had a lot of financial problems, and yet he went on saying Krishna, Krishna. But he was getting agitated that, I'm still in this state. I'm getting angry, I'm getting agitated, and I'm into a mess. My whole life is a mess, and yet God has not come. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Then there are people coming and trying to help, but he said, I don't want. So ultimately he dies. Before death, he's in the water. He's sinking there. And he's saying, oh Krishna, come and help me. Oh Krishna, come and help me. Oh Krishna, come and help me. By the side, there was a raft. And the raft said, give me your hand. The man said, give me your hand, I will take you. He said, no, God is going to come. Then there was a small canoe by the side. He said, no, I can't enter the canoe because God is going to come. Krishna is going to come. I messaged him. A huge ship, trailer comes from behind, honking, and he doesn't even look because he's waiting for Krishna. Ultimately, he sinks and dies. And he's so angry at God. He says, I devoted my life calling you constantly. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? You never came. You never came. What is the use of all my bhakti and devotion? Krishna said, I never came. I came in the form of a canoe. I came in the form of a raft. I came in the form of that blaring horn ship. You didn't look at me. So we are looking at the form and saying, God should help. But where is God? He's everywhere. Don't look here and there. And the best is, he's inside only. जब जरा गर्दन झुकाई तस्वीर दिल में है तस्वीरें यार जब जरा गर्दन झुकाई देख ली. It's there. That's it. So if you are sitting and getting agitated, only one person is get up and start. Start something. Get into activity. Do anything. Like Rudyard Kipling says, if every second of yours can be termed as being worth 60 seconds of run, then yours is the world and everything in it. He's writing a letter to his son. If, I think so, the name of the poem is If. Rudyard Kipling, the last 2 lines. If every minute of yours is worth 60 seconds of run, just get into activity. Get busy. Doesn't matter. And slowly you go forward. There is only one person that will get rid of all my agitation and stress. And that is my own self-effort. Therefore, never, never, never undermine your own self-effort. We'll continue in the next verse. Jnana vijnana triptatma kutastho vijithendriyaha yukta Tripta ityuchyate yogi samaloštāśma kañcanaha. The yogi, great man, who is satisfied with knowledge and wisdom, who remains unshaken, who has conquered the senses, to whom a lump of earth, stone, gold are the same, is said to be the realized one. So who's a yogi? A yogi who's reached the higher or is reaching the higher. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. Jnana, knowledge, Vijnana. Vijnana is the science of knowledge, indicates when this knowledge becomes wisdom and is burnt into you. You see, knowledge is easy. You have to go to Google, like somebody told me this long time back, is why should I listen to Bhagavad Gita lectures from anybody? Because there is this so many channels over there, TV channels over there. And those channels, there continuously people are talking about higher, being good. And the same thing, it's available. Information is available everywhere at the law. So when you go through the whole thing, you listen to somebody's lecture, then you get information. I'll tell you what is Vedanta so that you can stop the classes. You want me to say that? It's very easy. I am the self, the supreme reality, but I don't know at present that I am the self. I have imagined myself to be the individuality and not the totality. Therefore, my every attempt to make this individual into merging with the totality is yoga, or yuj in Sanskrit, yoga, and religion in English. So every attempt I have to make. So once I understand I'm the individual, then I know I'm made up of these three gunas, and these three gunas of sattva, rajas, and tamas is further bifurcated into my body, mind, and intellect. My body, mind, and intellect at present is functioning in a way. Body is functioning in the world of sensuality and materiality and getting completely harassed by it. The mind, whatever comes of it, is constantly agitated at the world, whatever is happening around, and the intellect has no focus on the higher. So all dharma has to do, or religion is teaching me, is to do karma, bhakti, and jnana. Starting with jnana, the intellect has to fix a higher goal in life. And when the intellect is fixing a higher goal in life, the mind has to be educated towards the intellect's fixation of the goal and not get agitated and dedicated, surrendered towards that higher goal in life. And the body follows. When the body follows such highly dedicated actions, it is called karma yoga. When there is a purity of the mind, it is called bhakti yoga. And when the intellect knows what it wants from life and bifurcates and dissects what is real and unreal, it is jnana yoga. When you do this, the mind becomes calmer and slowly vasanas disappear, all your samskaras go back, and you understand that you are nothing but that supreme reality. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, this is information. Anybody can see it. But transformation is when you see to it that your mind is not agitated. Transformation is when you see to it that your intellect is fixed on some higher goal in life. Transformation is when you put your body towards the grind, towards realizing that higher aspect to such a level that the body does not demand anything more. In fact, you command the physical body. So body does not say, I'm tired. You say, I will tell you when you are tired, till then you are working. So you are commanding the physical body. This is Vijnana. So a yogi, a truly spiritual person is Jnana Vijnana Tript Atma. Tripta, Sanskrit word Tript means loosely termed satisfied. It is complete, completely satisfied. Paripurnata. Such a person, Tript Atma. Jnana Vijnana Tript Atma. The yogi is satisfied with the knowledge, and Kutastha is unshaken. Kutastha is the substratum over which everything happens. Like you go to a cobbler And when you go to a cobbler and give your shoe or sandals or whatever it is, he has this kind of an instrument which is like a triangle, made of metal, and he puts it on top of it and starts hammering. Nothing happens to that metal. All the changes happen on top to the shoe or the sandal. That below, the substratum on which things happen, is kutastha, representing unshaken. Nothing shakes it. So nothing shakes this wisdom and knowledge afterwards. Once you get the knowledge, it can be shaken. But once it becomes wisdom and you know what is right and wrong, then you can't be shaken out of it. Jnana, Vijnana, Triptatma, Kutastha. So who remains unshaken. Why? He's conquered his senses. Simple. Every time conquered his senses indicates that who is the master of your life. Is your senses the master, or is the mind mastering the senses? If the senses are carrying on, then it will destroy you. Anybody for that matter. So first of all, what you do, subdue the senses. What is the first sense that subdues? Ear, nose, there are 5 sense organs of perception. Ears, nose, tongue, skin, and eyes. These are the 5 sense organs of perception. Handle anyone. You don't need to tackle everything. Tongue is the best. Start with that, because it is a organ of perception also, an organ of action also. It is talking also, so you control your speech, when to talk, how much to talk, and when to avoid talking, and you control your taste buds also. It's a very good thing to start. So just control your senses, not subdue, not finish them off. Conquer the senses does not mean, there's this person who came to me and said, sir, I become very spiritual. So what I do is when I'm eating dinner, I take a little bit of rice, I put dal, then I put vegetables on that. Then whatever dessert I want to eat, I add that also something sweet. I add everything. When I want to drink water, I don't drink, add water also inside, mix it and eat, because it becomes tasteless. So when you become spiritual now, your taste should not demand it. This is ridiculous. It's like calling your wife your mother, calling your mother your wife. Why do you want to do that? Enjoy each and everything, revel in it, but understand that they are temporary. That doesn't mean you need to get into subduing the senses means enjoy the senses, but understand that they are not supposed to control you. You are in control. I always say this among children also. When you have a television, does the remote control you, or you control the television through the remote? Does the mobile phone controls you, or you control the mobile phone? Does the relationships around you control you, or you are in control? Every time. So you have to be, this famous statement which we always make, I am happy with you, but never for a moment think that my happiness is dependent on you. Don't say it, please, to anybody. You will be finished. All the relationship will go away. This is just to understand within yourself. Be happy with everyone, but don't be demanding. Don't be controlling. You either, there are only 2 options. Either we allow the world to control us, or we want to control the world. Why can't we find a middle path where I will not allow the world to control me, neither I want to control the world? Let everybody live. That's it. This is wisdom, jnana. And then you will start controlling your own senses. So control your senses. And once you control your senses, what happens? To whom a lump of earth, stone, and gold are the same, is said to be realized one. Is said to be a realized one because nobody knows who's a realized one. We love this question of asking everybody, do you know that saint, is he realized? And that person also, because of marketing, he or she says that, I am realized. If they don't say I am realized, they act as if they are realized. Dancing around, jumping around everywhere, meeting with laughter or whatever it is. Nobody will know. whether anybody is realized. When everybody is in a dream state of consciousness, a dreamer will never know has anybody woken up until they themselves have woken up. That is the reason when throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Saha Uchyate, especially Saha Uchyate, it is said, is said to be a realized person. Who's saying this? Krishna. Who's considered to be a realized person? Is saying, is said to be realized. That is how people think that that person is realized. How does the person understand? Realization is very, very easy. Very easy. All the three aspects are the same. All the three aspects are the same. Earth, stone, and gold. Same in the sense when he has earth, mud, same value. Stone, same value. If he or she is offered gold, will it be the same value? He may exchange it for something else. But their attitude is, all these are worldly. Yeah, stones, for God's sake, what difference does it make? You may use or transact with one to do better things, to bring up the society in whatever way you want to deem fit. That's all. But from your point of view, world, it's the same. Why do you, so at one stroke, when you have not given the terrestrial realm any importance, all these belong to the world. So when they say they don't have any look out for these three things, it doesn't mean they don't value it. They do value it. When you call a Mahatma to your home, say for dinner or lunch, and he comes, and because he said Samadarshinaha, he or she is at a different mental plane of consciousness, they are not bothered what you give them. So you open your fridge, and 1 week or 2 week Purana chawal and Purana something which is completely spoiled, you will give that Mahatma. And when that Mahatma is eating, and he looks at the person and says, I think it is spoiled. So you can't look at that person and say, I knew you are a bad Mahatma, or good Mahatmas don't know the difference. It's not that. Everybody knows the difference between what is gone rotten and what is good. The only difference is when the Mahatma will refuse and say, I don't want this, thank you very much, and move out. But there won't be any modifications in his head. There won't be any thoughts in his head regarding how bad you are. But if you do that to anybody else worldly, then their thoughts are different. That's all is the difference. So when they are saying all these three things are same, it's the world. And one stroke, there are two things. One is to understand what is Paramatma. The other is to negate the world of senses. Once you have negated the world of the senses, why do you want to compromise? Why should you go towards the lower? You will not. Nobody will. There are three girls. So there's this kingdom. I'll end up with this story. There's this kingdom where a king died and a young prince took over the kingdom. So the neighboring king saw that this is young, inexperienced prince, and I can attack and take their kingdom away. So he attacked, and there were these three girls, sisters. They helped this young prince a lot. One of them stitched clothes, the other person made a lot of good stuff to eat for the soldiers, and the third was very good in administrative department. And somehow, with their help, they won their kingdom. So the prince who became the king was very, very happy, and he wanted to gift them something. So he asked the elder sister. The elder sister said, listen, I love wearing good jewelry. I have my passion. So can I marry your treasurer? So the young king said, of course you can marry my treasurer. He's a bachelor, so no problem. And they got married. And she could wear beautiful jewelry. The second lady said, I cooked for everybody. I love cooking. And since I love cooking, I love the smell. And I love eating also very nicely. So can I marry the royal cook? The prince said, yes, of course you can marry her. And he got married. Then he asked the younger one, the last one, what do you want? She said, I don't want anything. I'm all right. I just did my duty. That's all. No. You have to ask something or the other. She looked at that king and said, I'm sorry, my king, but you may not be able to give me what I'm asking. So forget it. He says, how can you say that? I am the king and I'm telling you. What do you want? You tell me. And I'll provide that for you. She said, I would like to marry you. The king smiled and said, okay, let's get married. And they got married. Now, when she married to the higher, the king, she got the best jewelry there can be. She ate the best food there can be. When you are getting married to the higher, what you are bothered about what's happening in the lower? You have given up. So this is what is that attitude of giving up. Everything is the same. A lump of earth, a stone, and gold remains the same. In the previous verse, we have done the same thing. A Brahmin, a Brahmana, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, a Brahmin who has knowledge and humility, an animal, an elephant, a cow, a dog, and a person who eats the dog at the lowest level of human, all of them are viewed the same by a wise person. There are no differences. Deal with them separately. Do everything that is possible, but internally you understand there is no difference. Why? He is established in his supreme reality. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. Completely satiated in his own self. How do you reach that state? One step at a time. Find out your role and play it well. And when you play it well, not for the other person's applause, not for the recognition of the world, you play it because you want to play it. You love playing it. Like in Peaceful Warrior, in that movie Peaceful Warrior, when that young boy cannot do gymnastics again because he's went through an accident and his legs got shattered. So the preacher says that, why don't you go and jump into you're not going into the Olympics. So what? He says, I dreamt this. Right, and these are the dialogues. Right from the age of 5, I was on the Roman rings and the trampoline. I was there because, and that line is my favorite. I was there because I loved it. When I love my life, when I love my job, your life is complete. Bring that inspired living into everybody's life, into your own life, rather than a drudgedly monotonous way of living. We'll continue next time. Thank you.